So, Kenise, you never heard the term Sammy?
I haven't. I'm real lame, I guess.
Sammy meaning sandwich.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of regionalism that is.
Yeah, I don't know that that's it's not the pop soda thing. Just
I think British people say Sammy.
Sammy, toss me a Sammy.
I feel like I used to
Colonel.
see British people on forums.
Forums?
Talk about Sammys.
What forum were you on?
Wait, is Sammy British?
It
Is that
could
what
be.
we're saying?
We don't
I think
know.
It could be. I
It's
think
no one
British people
knows.
say
Sammy.
Sammy.
I just don't understand if it's the same number of syllables. Why abbreviate? Like
Sandwich, because sandwich hurts to say.
it
Well, yeah,
hurts
you gotta
to say.
purse
Sandwich.
the lips, right?
Ugh.
You gotta
And
witch.
there's a lot of illogical shortenings like Dick or like Bill. Well, no, those both make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack for John.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
That
sense.
makes
to
no
me.
sense.
Jack
but
for
Wait, what is
John?
that? What is that?
Like
Yeah.
people called John F. Kennedy Jack Kennedy back in the days.
Yeah,
Oh,
why?
right.
Oh, I thought that was a separate name,
No,
not a
it's
replacement.
They're
another
talking
Kennedy?
about John, but they're saying Jack.
I don't like
That's
it.
insane.
I don't like it
Where
at
does
all.
that come from? Do we know?
Wait,
No.
were you saying Rich is Dickard or Dick is Richard?
Or you could say
Or
Rick or Dick are the
I like
same.
that as a new
Ri-
name.
Dickard?
Rick or Dick are
Dick
the
is
same
richer?
shortening
Oh,
of
I thought
Richard.
you were randomly being like, oh,
Yeah, how
Dick
did
is
Dick
short for penis.
go
Like,
for
thanks.
Right, that
Richard?
also
Yeah.
makes
Thanks
sense.
for shortening
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It
that's what I was-
feels
I
like
thought
some
you were
sort of
going there with
inversion
that.
that a child would make, given the D at the end and then throwing it at the beginning or something.
Yeah, they're just weird, fun, creative little tags on these names. you
Right.
know?
Now,
Yeah,
Nick
there are
is
others
short.
that I'm not thinking of, but there are others. Joe Bags? Is that relevant?
Joe Bags?
Joe
That's just a nickname.
Coffee is Joe. How about that?
How about
Morning,
it?
Joe.
How about it? Who came up with that?
This is like autistic Seinfeld.
Coffee is
Just run
Joe.
through as many facts as possible and
Weirdest word association.
Well, I don't want to switch to Dan. I'll tell you that. That's from my heart. You know, I'm Danny.
yeah,
a lot of older Dannies switch to Dan,
Yeah.
and I'm not on board.
Dan Vega doesn't work.
Dan
Why does
Vega?
Dan Vega not
sounds.
work?
Dan Vega has a porny
Ooh.
quality.
Yeah, or like a douchey
It sounds very
Italian
Las
piece
Vegas
of shit.
to me.
Yeah.
like
It sounds like what?
Las Vegas. Like
Oh, sure, yeah.
yeah,
Dan
like
Vega.
Dan Vega. He owns this part of the strip.
Yeah,
you know?
right?
Like,
Yeah, sounds like a scumbag.
I'd like to be like a slumlord in Las Vegas, like a really
or like
crappy
a DJ
casino.
on one of those huge DJ billboards.
Ooh.
But you just go by Vega.
DJ
Yeah.
Vega,
Oh, of course,
just
Vega.
Vega. Kenise, you have the most interesting name here by far. Not even close.
Thanks.
Is there an
You're
abbrev?
welcome.
Yeah, totally.
Is there an abbrev for that?
No one abbreviates my name. I have 0 nicknames.
Yeah, it
Ken
would just
would be
be
a bad
male
one.
sounding
Yeah, Ken
names.
would be
if
bad.
You,
Yeah.
yeah, Kenny,
Ken.
Ken,
Nice. Yeah, there's kind of a nice in your name.
Yeah, it's written, but it doesn't.
and then
Niece
niece
would be
is weird.
like apostrophe niece.
Niece, yeah.
Right.
My cousin
Niece.
tried to get Niecey going, and I was like, that's not happening.
You need to
Niece.
stop,
Yeah.
Cuzzo. I say
Kneesy
Cuzzo.
Kneesy knee.
Yeah. Everyone would address me by my full name at all times. Like
Yeah.
in college, even they'd be like, Kenise Mobley. Like it's just
The
my
whole
full
name?
name?
Yeah,
They
my
would say,
full
oh,
name.
wow.
Or
That's
Miss
exhausting.
Mobley.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
It flows together well.
Do you have
both
a
the
middle
names.
I do, but
What's-
I never.
You never.
It's not
divulge it
disclosed.
publicly, or you
I
just-
will. It's
oh,
just
okay.
like it's not a name.
Her
I'm
writer
particularly
says not
fond
to
of.
bring it up.
Yeah. I did submit a rather lengthy writer. Just list. Yeah. It's Francis.
Kenise Francis Mobley.
Yeah.
Does
Oh my
anybody here
God.
like their middle name?
No, mine's my dad's name. I like that part. I just don't like the way it. Danny Carlos Vega, and it's
Oh
a
yeah,
lot.
dude.
Now you
yeah,
sound like a criminal.
That's a
Then
slumlord.
you gotta be,
Yeah.
you gotta be
That's
a
DC
slumlord, dude.
Vega. I think it's got to be DC Vega.
DC Vega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you sound like a crime novel writer.
Ooh,
Sure.
I'll take
Yep.
that.
DC Vega.
I've got a lot of
That's pretty tight,
I've got a
actually.
little weird career options. I feel
do.
certainly this one isn't working out.
Yeah, but you can't do any of those things.
I think I'd be great at being like a slummy, like guy who has.
Well, I was
people
thinking
off.
like writer.
Oh,
you know?
writer,
Yeah.
crime
you don't
writer.
think you could be a crime writer?
No, not at all.
Yeah, sure. Here, let's try it. Then the man killed the other man, and everyone said, "Let's find the guy."
Yeah, see, no,
That's
not-
that's
Well,
juicy.
actually, you know
I
what?
think that's a
I like
good
that.
first draft.
Good
and
first.
you'd want to like flush it out a
Well, yeah,
little
because
bit.
Yeah.
they start with the murder and then they work backwards.
Yes,
to
my
do the
books
mystery.
open
Yeah.
with the murder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing they said is like the best? Like it makes everything more interesting.
If you
I
open
mean,
with a murder.
I don't
No,
think
it's
it
like
has
it-
to be. But
No, like the make the second sentence of any novel and then the murder started. and then like suddenly it's suddenly so much
and then the
more
murders
interesting.
started.
Yeah. So it's like there was
Murder
like the Harry
started?
Potter. I think like the first line is like Harry Potter lived on this lane, whatever, and then the murder started, and like so you're like, oh, what?
There's no Harry Potter book starts like that.
No,
does it?
no.
Oh,
No,
you're
yeah, but
saying
no,
if
If
it
you added that, suddenly you'd be like, what the hell's going on in this magical community?
No, yeah, I did think that you
I mean,
were
Harry
saying.
Potter's already pretty interesting.
I
Yes,
would have.
yes.
I would have read Harry Potter if it said, and then the murder started.
You didn't
I'd
read
be
Harry
in.
Potter.
I did not.
You never
no.
read Harry
Specifically
Potter?
because it didn't
No,
say
no.
when the
I
murder
was an
What are you,
awful-
racist?
I was an
Again,
awful reader.
racist?
I don't know. It just feels like a bigoted thing. Like I'm against it.
I don't like Harry Potter, and I also have a scar on my forehead that people started calling me Harry Potter, so I have I had a resentment.
But you don't wear glasses or anything, so
I
you're fine.
do not wear glasses, but the kids did not
well,
give a shit.
Nick also
were very
grew up in a
uncreative.
closet, so you know.
Like gay?
God, you
No,
don't know
Harry
anything
grew
about
up
Harry
in a
Potter.
As a
Like-
physical closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Harry Potter, he lives in a closet with like
Under the
abusive
Oh
stairs.
yeah,
douchebags.
see, I never
Because
read the
they're
book. I don't know if you
racist
heard that
against
part.
wizards.
Yeah.
So
Right.
keep 'em in
I thought you
closet.
knew some of the
Okay.
basics of the story.
I picked up the first one, and I was a very bad reader as a kid.
That's
so,
Wait, Nick,
not surprised
tell me
to hear
what
that
you
at
think
all.
happens in the Harry Potter series from beginning to end.
okay, I think that Harry Potter, he grows up with parents, right?
Nope.
But like they're not his actual. No, he's a foster kid,
Grows
right?
up-
Right.
Yeah, but he
So
grows up in a house with
Yeah.
two
Right.
people.
Two people that
and
aren't his parents. Right?
Yeah.
He lives under the stairs.
with his aunt and uncle.
He with his aunt and uncle. They're under the stairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking owl visits him, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't really like say hello. It's not like Peter Pan. It just
The owl
Doesn't Owl visit him before
An
Hagrid
owl
visits
is
him?
a courier. Is that
An
right?
owl visits
Doesn't
him
the
before
book
Hagrid.
open with something about
Does
an
an
owl?
come to Harry Potter before
Yes.
Hagrid?
Yeah, that's like the
does?
first
Yes.
page.
Okay.
So
think
the
the first
owls
page
start
isn't-
dropping off these letters, letting him know that he can go to Hogwarts.
Oh right,
and
but
then,
but he doesn't open them because
His
his aunt and
uncle-
uncle don't. Oh right,
yeah.
so then Hagrid comes.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd
I bet this
forgotten
is
all
so
of them.
frustrating
But
for
did
so
you
many
read
Harry
them?
Potter
I
fans.
did
Growing
read
up?
them, yeah, but
Yes.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
forgot. It's like the
Yeah.
first one I've read.
I
read
dropped
like 10
off
years
at
ago.
book 5.
Oh
What?
wow.
I just
You don't know what happens after that?
no, I thought it got long-winded. You know.
Oh,
I
it
think,
did,
I
but
think
I
she
st- yeah, I
lost
mean, I
her
still finished
it.
sort
Oh,
of
yeah, I
momentum.
finished it.
That's so.
Finished
See,
it.
so that's so fascinating to me. When I was young, because I'm just now like I've read in my life. It's not that bad,
Oh boy.
but it's probably bad in comparison to you guys. I've read probably about 35 to 40 books in my life.
I think you're probably underestimating, but I know
yeah,
the feeling.
like even
Right.
like in high school.
Because sometimes you think about like how many books, and you really like I
Well,
can name
right.
10.
Yeah.
I've
Right.
read,
Well, I
like,
said that in my therapist to my therapist the other day because I like one of my things that I'm bitching about right now is how dumb I am, and so like one of the things I talked to her about is like I haven't read enough. I'm trying to read. I want to like read. It would be great to read a book a week if I could, you know. And I said like I think 30 books, and then after I left the therapist, I was like I thought about it, I was like I've read more. I think I've read more than that. You know, I started thinking of books that I hadn't thought of. You know.
right?
So I don't know. I'm just I when I saw Harry Potter and there were
Right.
these thick ass books, I was like, fuck no. Like
But you
Right.
get done with them like in 2 or 3
that's
days.
what I saw. Well, not me. There's no possible way. I mean,
I think those books are the easiest. They're not even like
I
easy
believe
they're
they're
not like
easy.
easier than like a kid's book or anything, but
They are kids' books.
They're
right.
kids' books.
But I mean like a picture book, you know, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I think-
they're the most like compelling I've ever like. They're the ones that I just was like, oh, I'm not even thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
I
but
just
the
gotta,
story.
I'm just wait, I'm done.
I would like to actually do it, but then another part of me goes like, why even?
Right.
Oh,
bother?
I have a solution. Start a podcast about you reading Harry Potter for the first time.
That's not bad.
Because
it's not a bad idea.
I would
Other
pay
people would
to
be
have
on
that
there.
People would
deleted.
listen to that.
I would
Yeah.
ask to be on there.
Okay, I'll do it.
I feel like you're doing
Can we
this
start
thing
it
that,
now?
that a lot of people do, which is like, oh, reading is good. Reading is good. Read, but it's like you can read trash, and a lot of people do.
Right.
Yeah,
and
but
not
I
be
don't.
smarter.
I don't.
No, but don't you read the internet?
That's
Aren't
not
you?
what I'm saying. I'm not saying that everyone should read anything. I'm saying that I would like. This is all about
No, but
me.
your metric for how smart you are. By the way, I think you're a moron. But
I know, and that's fine.
no, but like it's like you don't need to read books. You can read The Guardian or like
And I
you know
do.
whatever.
I
That's not
do.
a
I
great
read the news
example.
and
I'm
shit.
obviously a moron.
What
but
news do you read?
I read the Times and I read Guardian and I'll read the Atlantic sometimes.
that
and
counts.
Yeah,
I
that's
understand. No, I
Yeah.
understand. But I have a.
Do you read the whole article
No.
or do you skim?
No. What I
It's
do.
hard not to skim.
Well,
Oh, sure,
No,
yeah.
I don't. I do
So much.
neither. I read half of the article.
And then you
Typically, I
The
read about
worst
half.
of
and
all.
I'm like, I know what's going on now.
You read the headline and then you get in an argument with someone's aunt on Facebook.
Yes.
Oh,
No, I never
yeah.
do that. See, I never. Here's the thing. I'm not very opinionated. This is very much about me right now.
Yeah.
So we can change
Is
subjects
this a Nick
anytime.
Needs Help
No,
podcast?
well, that's what happens with my life. Is I always turn it around on me. It's
So
very
how do you
disgusting.
how do you lack an opinion? I don't understand.
Well, here's the thing. I have opinions, but I think that what I lack is well, it's also insecurity. But I
Okay.
think I lack a lot of understanding of certain topics or issues, and I don't take and I'm afraid of like being like backlash.
Mhm.
And I feel like if somebody was like, "You don't know shit about this," and then I'm like, "Well, I don't," so now I have nothing to say. You know?
But that's like a conversation. Like
Sure. Well, that's the thing is I would do it with people like you guys or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
other friends of mine, but like on the internet, just lashing out at people. Like people always come back with shit that I have never even read about, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
Right.
the great vast wilderness of
It's
the
a big
internet.
world.
It's not a friendly place
Yeah.
for
No.
like trying to work out what
Yeah.
you think.
Yeah, you
Right,
got to
so
come
yeah.
there with solid, defined,
I was
like,
reading about
reinforced ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
company towns recently. Have you ever read
Who?
about that?
no.
There was like this article about like how Facebook now it's like you work at Facebook, but now it's like Facebook Town, and there's
Oh
like
yeah,
a
and they have
grocery
fucking
store.
housing units.
Oh,
and
Housing
yeah.
units, like kind of creepy, and people are like, "Oh, this reminds me of company towns." We all know how bad those were. It was like a Twitter thread, and I was like, "Oh, what's a company town?" It was like when the coal, the
Oh,
coal
yeah.
mines, the company would own everything. But the problem is that it was kind of chill at first, even nice at first. But then, like when their profits go down or whatever, they're like, "Oh, well, we're just gonna pay everyone less, and there's like no other store you can go to, so like we just control your life."
Yeah.
Anyway, I got upset because some guy like Nick wrote in the comments, "I don't know what this is."
Oh, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
Okay, see that.
Was
Wait,
it
You're,
you?
you're saying some guy
No, but
similar
I just
to
thought it was
that,
funny because it's an article
You're
like
saying some other idiot.
some other idiot.
Some guy said a shitty thing that wasn't me.
But
that
it's not
doesn't
even
mean
a
that
shitty
that-
thing. It's saying I don't know what this is, and then
Yeah.
hopefully other people would be like, here are examples
Right.
for you to
Wait,
like.
did that
educate
Well,
happen?
no, it was just weird because it's like the article was there with that information about what this was.
Oh.
We're all reading the article because we don't know what this is,
Yeah.
but then someone left a comment, "I don't know what this is," and it's like that's
Fucking
just
read.
not something
Yeah,
you need to
that's-
say.
Well,
you can
that,
just
that
read
doesn't
it.
sound like something I would do.
No,
I kind
it
of love
doesn't. I was just
the
tying
guy
it to
who
you.
writes that, though. I love that stamping of your personality.
That's
that has nothing to do with you, and no one needs to. Where you're like, I need everyone to know that I don't know what this is,
Yeah, this
nor
is
do I have
all
the
about
interest
me.
of finding out.
Yeah.
Goodbye. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It had 10,000 likes. Everyone
Yeah.
loved it. He's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
I'm
did it
on
really?
board for
Did it
this.
like-
No, it didn't.
okay.
It didn't. He was
Because
bombing.
sometimes
I was
some of
like
these
people
dudes
hated it.
10,000 likes.
I love that it's
10,000.
like the thing that explains what this is right
It's
here. And
right
he's like,
above you, sir.
There's absolutely no way that I
He
could find
literally
out.
scrolled past
Dude, I
what
love
this
it.
was
That's great.
to write that he didn't know.
That's great.
Damn.
That feels American to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
love
he's
that.
definitely an American. Proud
Patriotic.
American, thankfully.
Did he have a flag in his fucking name?
No, he had like a blank avatar, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
a gray, you know.
They don't do the egg anymore.
They don't do
egg?
the egg anymore. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I
'Cause
think
yeah.
it could be because it got associated with like white supremacists on Twitter.
Eggs
that
are
like
now associated with white
no,
supremacy?
Yeah.
I don't mean like I
Eggs.
mean
Yeah,
like the
just that-
Twitter
that,
egg,
okay,
because
yeah.
so many white supremacists didn't have an avatar and
Yeah.
would like tweet hateful shit at whoever.
If
Oh,
you
and they were
eat
just
eggs
eggs.
now, you're against gay marriage.
Yes.
And it depends
Right.
how many eggs. If you eat only egg whites, that's like burning a
That's-
cross.
Yeah.
Which I do, by the way, eat egg white. No,
Ugh.
yeah, Twitter. It
I
was
thought you
because of
meant burning a
MAGAs.
cross.
What's that?
I thought you meant burning a cross. I thought you were saying you
Yeah,
burn.
no,
Just
I
move
actually
on.
burn crosses. I don't.
I don't know
actually
what this
eat
is.
egg whites.
I'm gonna start commenting that on
I
every
don't know
fucking
what
thing
this
now.
is.
I don't know
I
what
don't
this
know.
is.
Oh, I had a good one of those where the bar where I run my show, the lights weren't working. I went to the bartender, was like, "Hey, can we fix this?" And he goes in the room and he's like, can't figure it out. He's like, I don't know what any of this is. That's what he said. I'm like,
Thank you for that.
wow.
That's awesome.
I don't know what any of
None
my
of it.
surroundings
You can't even
are.
begin.
Rooms,
I'm not gonna touch anything. I just can't
lights,
figure
Alright,
it
dude,
out.
It's
cool.
all beyond me.
Thanks for the help.
It's just like two switches. I can't do it. That's fun.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. There's all these different like images now on Twitter, like the roses for socialists,
Oh yeah.
and then there's the frogs for like the alt right, and there's all
What
these
is this
different.
on?
I didn't know there were
Twitter.
roses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
It's like a symbol of like the socialist.
the DSA.
Yeah.
That's like a rose. That's their thing.
I didn't even see that.
Why? Just because pretty
I don't know.
flowers.
Why is the rose a socialist
It
flower?
feels
Are
like
we talking
such
about
a-
like the emojis that are on like their names and shit?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I didn't
That's
know
the
that.
thing now. I was going to bring this up earlier that, like, when are we going to get a child named, like, picture of a smiling cat, you know?
Mm.
Like, that's got to happen.
I don't. Do they?
Yeah, I don't.
Is that legal?
I don't think it's legal yet.
Well,
I
the
think it's going
Emoji
to
movie's
become
coming
legal.
out.
Oh, is
You
that not
know?
out yet?
Is it already out?
I don't think it's out
I
yet.
feel like
it came and
I feel
gone.
like it's been out for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's how
I feel
long
like
I've
I've
been
seen
like,
previews for it.
Like I work in Times Square. It's just been there forever.
Yeah.
That's how long I've been like, there's a fucking Emoji movie. Like, I feel
Right.
like I've had that feeling
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
a while.
TJ Miller is a thing.
Patrick Stewart's the poop emoji.
I'm not sure what
Patrick
Patrick
Stewart?
Patrick
Stewart?
Sir Patrick
Well,
Stewart.
I would see it.
Wow.
Plays
He's
the
the
All
poop
poop
right.
emoji.
I
Or
didn't
the
know
ice
that that
cream
was-
emoji, but the poop emoji.
Oh yeah,
It's supposed to be ice
Oh,
cream.
is it really? Oh,
Yes.
I thought they just owned. They're like, yeah,
No,
it's
it's not.
shit.
It's not
Oh,
supposed
that's
to
funny.
be a poop emoji, and then like it became the poop emoji.
Oh, what was it? Chocolate?
Yeah, like
It's like
ice
chocolate,
cream.
yeah,
like
yeah.
chocolate ice cream.
Oh, really?
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's not supposed. Like,
There's
you think
no way
that's
the
supposed-
creator of that was
Yeah,
like,
they
this
had
is.
to know. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like they didn't make like a semen. They didn't make like a urine emoji. Like they didn't make the other.
I would
I'm
love
just
to just
surprised
have.
I'm surprised that they like fucked it up that bad. 'Cause
Yeah.
It so obviously looks like shit.
Yeah. I think they should have one that looks like shit. Like it looks like a little piece
Like
of
a
poop.
real turd.
That would be
Yeah.
great. That would be a very
I would
good
love.
emoji.
You should start a
A
movement.
single lonely turd with no face on it.
What are your favorite emojis to use?
Heart eyes.
Used to be the gun.
Fire.
I have
Yeah.
The
No-
gun
no
was my
longer?
absolute favorite. Well, they changed it to a squirt gun.
Oh really?
Yeah, there's
no,
no.
on Droid there's still a real gun.
Well, go Droid.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Android is the
That's how
free.
fucked up Droid is, dude.
Yeah, I would love to go back to Droid because I miss the gun, man. I used to, like, when I was dating Hannah, we would go and we would always use the gun matched with another emoji, and it was like little jokes, like which emoji goes best with the gun,
Yeah.
and we would get some of the best combinations. One was the whale. And you know how like its back flipper is flipped up, and then you have the gun pointing into its ass.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And it was so good.
That's great.
It was so good.
I only use the upside down smiley. I don't know what that means. And the guy with sunglasses. Those are my favorite.
I see girls on Tinder use that upside down smiley all the time.
What does that mean?
It
I
means
d-
like
What does it
I
mean for
don't
them?
know.
Use it or in general? What does it mean?
I don't even know what
Like,
it means. Yeah, I
On
just like
Tinder,
it.
does that like indicate?
I think
an
it's
interest
quirky or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I was trying to figure it
quirky.
out. I think it's like they're like, I'm cute. I also know this app is bullshit. I'm sarcastic.
Yes.
All that's
I'm
communicated with the
sarcastic,
upside
I
but
down.
think so. Yeah.
well, it's like I like
Wow.
emojis, but like I am
I've been doing it
above
wrong
them.
this whole time.
I'm self-aware,
Yeah.
but I want to be cute.
Well, when I
Yeah.
say it, what I mean is like try to envision like my head coming down upside down near you, and then just saying something to you. How terrifying that would be. That's
yeah,
what
you're
I'm
just
going
going
for.
literal with it. I like
What?
that.
I'm
too.
very literal. I have
I
a
mean,
really bad.
That'd be cool if they could
disease.
do like pictures of your face and make that an emoji.
Oh my
and then
god,
you
I
could
want
use
Yeah.
that.
it.
I
Can
want
I
that
say
so
though?
bad.
I
That would be
hate how
scary as fuck.
I would use a Danny
Danny
Vega emoji
emojis?
all the time.
Yeah, that'd be pretty garbage.
Yeah.
Like this guy needs to shave. I hate how Facebook has its own emojis. I want standard emojis. You know what I mean? Facebook's are more like cartoony.
Oh, I don't
Fa-
like those cartoon
Facebook
things.
is my favorite one though, which I guess is bad for listeners. But the like awkward, like, do you know what I'm talking about? Or like,
Yeah, guy clenching his teeth, kind of.
yeah, like some.
Oh yeah.
That I like that one a lot.
I
It's
like that
very,
one too.
It's
I
very
use that.
evocative.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I use the glasses guy. The sunglasses.
Oh, I love
dude.
that guy.
He's great. If you
Oh,
put
yeah.
it
It's
in
like
the right
sarcastic,
context,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you put it in the right
Yeah.
context against something that's like kind of a juxtaposition where it's like this isn't really cool, but like, hey, cool.
Yeah.
you know.
Kenise, you said Hard Eyes and Fire.
Hard eyes, fire.
Hard eyes fire, yeah.
And
Hard
the,
eye.
um,
Oh.
Well, is that for like almost a sext, or
You
is
like
that
that fire?
No.
Yeah.
not
that's
like
like-
not sexual, but kind of like, hey, that's fucking hot.
Sometimes
Yeah,
I'll do that.
All right. I'm just wondering what's the context you usually use it for.
Something that's just okay. I'll pretend like it's fire. Like, oh, this shit's fire.
Oh,
Oh,
dope.
yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Right on.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hard eyes. Now that there's like black emojis, I'm getting into like
Do you do
the actual people.
Do you do the
ones.
clap back one?
Oh my god, that gets on my nerves so much.
Oh, yeah,
when,
it's
like,
really
people
annoying.
Like word
That
clap,
one's
word
weird.
Yeah, yeah.
clap, word
That
clap.
one's weird. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Do any of you?
What do
know?
you mean
It
you
is-
don't?
it
You
is
don't.
like-
You don't understand what
there's-
it's like meaning.
Okay, so I don't know. You go like I am.
No.
What are they doing?
No, it's
Okay, so
actually
it's
on.
Like,
Yeah.
It's standard black lady hand signaling. Like I learned this because I had been doing it my whole life, and
Okay.
everyone had been making fun of me. And I saw on a TV show they're like standard black lady hand motions, and it was just like all these things that I had been doing my whole
Yeah.
life. And I was like, oh, you guys can't make fun of me about this anymore because like now it's,
Right.
it's suddenly racist.
Oh wait, now I
Sure.
feel really stupid. So it's not. I thought it was this like, Nick, how do?
No,
you-"
no.
Yeah,
No.
that's not what
I'm
it
gonna,
is.
I'm gonna,
Yeah,
put,
yeah.
my,
Not
what
I'm
it
gonna
is?
put the mic down so you can
Yeah.
see what it looks like. Do you understand what I'm saying?
There was a dude. There is a.
Oh, She just
okay.
did like a side clap
Okay,
for the
that's it,
listeners,
that's
like
it.
right
Okay,
in
I
front of
get
her
it,
body. A
because
little side
there was
clap.
a woman outside of my apartment last. I live in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And so I live across the street from a trap house. and there was a woman screaming at this guy doing that exact thing, and I was like, and I pictured her in my head doing it. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
But now I get it.
It's a
Wait,
black
Nick,
lady who's
how
upset.
did you not know what that was, having lived in the black neighborhood and also having seen black comedians before?
Well, I guess I knew what it was, but like
You
I didn't know that it was.
associate with that.
I didn't know that that was like a
punctuation
thing.
visually.
You know what I mean? Like I heard what she was doing. And I was like, oh, I understand why she's doing that. Like it's like a very it's a power
Sure.
move, you know?
Yeah.
But you didn't associate it with the fucking thing on
I didn't
the internet
at all. Yeah. no.
That's just,
It's very rhythmic, also. You
Yeah.
know, white people aren't good with shit like that.
Yeah.
But it used to
Right.
be a white.
That's
it used to be
why.
white hands. I remember.
Well, yeah,
Oh.
because
I
they
remember
just.
seeing
Well,
I
because
was-
it was only white hands.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna bring
exactly.
that
So
up.
then I remember that was like a weird like middle point where it's like, wait, why are
Why
these
I
It's
love that
white.
everything
white
is.
hand
I
just
love that
weird?
everything is the Simpsons hands now. You know, everything's
Yeah,
yellow.
the yellow is the
Yeah.
default.
Yeah.
Because I have Arizona friends, and they're racist because it's Arizona. You know what I mean? Like they're not woke at all. So it's like, I don't know. They use like black emojis, and I'm like, I don't like when you do that. I'm not
Yeah.
comfortable with that. Like you
does
stick
that
to your
mean?
colored emojis.
I used to like Black Santa a lot.
Yeah.
I would just write
The
a
notion- like-
status or something or whatever, or send a text and then
Black
just
Santa.
tag it with Black Santa. I just liked Black Santa.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it was like a racist thing.
No,
I don't
it's
think
not
anyone,
racist.
I don't think anyone thought it was
someone could argue that you were doing it racistly, but
Right.
I would disagree with them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
it was so much fun.
It's
I
kind
like
of a hat tip to like, oh, everyone was white. Like, oh, Jesus is white, Santa is white. It's
Right.
like, why?
Well, I remember I went to I think it was like not a Cracker Barrel, but like it was like a Roadhouse Grill or something.
Yeah.
And there was a on
This was
the
like when Danny was trying to remember who wrote on. It was something like Nick. Something
yeah.
Some idiot like Cracker Barrel type Nick
Right,
person.
exactly. I was at like this thing, and there was like a bench inside. It was around Christmas, and they had a black Santa sitting on the bench, and I'll never forget it because I was a child, and I saw black Santa. I was like, hey, the Santa's black, you know.
Yeah.
And I just think, and I think that's why I would start using the black Santa emoji.
That's
But
good that
then-
that was your reaction, and I'm like,
right.
oh my god,
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
Like where I grew up, it was definitely like if they had a black Santa in the mall, like people would get upset about it. Like,
yeah.
but Santa, this fictional character, wasn't black. So
Where did
like you need
you-
to North Carolina.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally. But what's so funny to me is that that's all the more reason that it could and should, or why not be black?
Yeah, it's a made
Because
up
it's a
person.
fictional person. It's like
Yeah.
make them whatever the fuck you want to make.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But then they changed the black emoji, the black Santa emoji, to like a kind of like a more gaunt, skinnier, weird looking.
Lean
And it used to just be a
But
little
it's still
circular
Santa?
head. Well, on my phone, it used to just be like the circular head, and now it's like this more realistic looking black Santa guy.
Still
I'm
with
like,
a white beard. Though.
See, that feels like
I think, yeah.
departing from Santa because Santa is fat and jolly.
Yeah.
We can't change that about him.
Yeah.
It is pretty.
So
Part
now he's a skinny Santa.
Well, he just looks more like a human than
Yeah.
like a little emoji face.
Huh.
Oh,
And
okay.
to me, I hate when they start to look too real. You
Right,
know,
yeah.
That to me, it's just now you're just sending little cartoons rather than emojis. Why am I don't want to complain about this anymore.
Emojis aren't the way I want them to be.
Yeah, but we're kind of getting into the future, right? Is
Yeah.
that what
I
we're
feel like
doing?
that fire
Sure.
emoji has basically become like language. It's used
Yeah.
so often.
Yeah.
Fire, fire, fire.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like a stylistic like phrase now. You know what I mean? There's like a type of writing that is gonna use the fire emoji
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
more.
Well, you could totally see it coming when, I mean, that "This Is Fire" was used so much, like back in like the mid 2000s
Yeah.
and on, and it's still.
I don't remember when I first heard "This Is Fire."
To
I
me,
don't think
it was in.
mid-2000s.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit later for me. It was
I
like
might be
2012.
uncool though. I don't know.
But
I
I'm
think-
I'm square as hell. So.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it was around like 2008. No, before that, because I started smoking pot when I was like 2000. I was 14 or 13, and all my friends were like, "Shit's fire." Or maybe it was a little later.
Is
I
that
don't
where
know.
it's from?
Well, it was
drug
very
culture
associated with
typically
pot,
is
yeah.
like on the
Oh.
cutting edge of slang.
Yeah.
What's that?
Drug culture is typically on the cutting edge of
Yeah,
slang.
that's very true.
So
I was gonna say
yeah.
though, wasn't "This Is Fire" a phrase when they came out with actual fire? Like that had to be like such a big deal. Like, dude, we have fire now. Like everything's
That's
fire.
fire.
all of a sudden.
They're pointing out that's fire.
Wow, our village is
Yeah.
fire.
It was
Our whole
also when
village is burning
they
down.
came
It's-
out with metaphors. So they're like, "That's not fire. That's a rock." He's like, "No, it's a fire rock. I'm gonna cut myself with it." I don't know why they're
Why is he?
So is he a
self-injuring. They're
caveman?
self-injuring caveman. There's a lot of progress made.
All right.
Do you think there were any suicidal cavemen? This
there had
should be
to be.
called the past.
Are
by the
there
way.
suicidal the past? Are there suicidal animals? Because like there's, I
Yeah.
guess there's not really.
Wait,
Well, they-
what animals are suicidal?
I've
Yeah,
had
like they're
fish-
just like, yeah.
I've had fish that just jumped out of their bowl and stuff.
Yeah, I had a
Oh,
fish
yeah.
that did that.
Well, yeah. So animals in captivity.
Sure.
Well, yeah.
I don't think there's
But I
suicidal
think,
fish
like,
in the ocean.
To be
Might be.
suicidal, all you have to do is just like slow down a little bit. Like you don't have to like we have to like do something extra to
Sure,
kill
sure, sure.
ourselves. But like
Yeah.
an animal can just be like, I'm so fucking tired of this existence.
Yeah.
Let me just run a little bit slower, and then something
Well,
will kill.
yeah,
me.
like a wounded gazelle will probably commit
Yeah.
suicide by lion.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe.
'cause it'll be like, I'll
Right,
just
it's
give
like
up.
some-
Bye-bye, like by
Yeah,
cop.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
like a bird will just be like,
Yeah.
oh, forget it,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
drop
I
to the
love
ground
that.
and die.
But yeah, I think like in a context in which you don't have to like fight to survive, suicide is more prevalent.
Well, I think that there's I mean, I never doubt stuff like that existing because they used to say that there were no gay animals.
But there's so many.
There's so many. Now they have like a whole thing. Like I went to the Museum of Sex.
Okay, I was like, who has this whole thing?
They have a whole wall now
Okay.
about
Of gay
of
animals?
homosexuality and animals and in variety of different animals like diddling. They use words that like
Diddling?
Diddle?
Use words like diddling.
They were-
I,
Yeah.
I associate diddling with like molesting.
Yeah.
I guess
no.
all
Oh no!
animals
One
are
of the
kind
here I have.
molesters.
I actually took a picture of one of the things that they said and I posted it on Instagram because I really loved the phrasing.
This is just a look at Nick's social media podcast.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, yeah. I mean, this. You know.
we should just this podcast should
Wait,
be
what other
describing
emojis
things
do
you
guys
can't
use
see.
Often?
I like prayer hands.
Prayer
I do
hands?
like prayer
What-
hands. Yeah,
What's
prayer hands
the
is good.
context that you use prayer hands in?
It's usually something really mundane that I like hope will happen, but
Okay.
I use like 17 prayer hands in a row or something like that.
Okay, you guys ready?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Penis fencing.
Who does this?
I think it was a type of like worm.
Oh my god.
So some type of thing like or like a fish, kind of like a snaky fish or something. But they would get their dicks out and then they would ram them against each other, and they
Ow.
call that penis fencing. It's like a scientific term.
my
Wait,
God.
so are these species where like all of them are gay, or where like there's instances of homosexuality?
No, the
the same?
instances of
Yeah,
homosexuality.
Right. I guess
yeah,
there
I
are
think.
mixes of all of them are gay.
Yeah, well,
Well, no. There's animals that
can fuck
don't
themselves.
necessarily need
Worms.
a male and female to reproduce, right? So
Well,
like,
it's like
earthworms.
asexual.
Earthworms reproduce with their own bodies.
yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe
Earthworms
Or
they're
they
are
can like switch, like
asexual?
is it clams or
no, they're
something?
what do
Where
you
like
call that?
you can kind of go
You can
from
switch and
yeah.
Asexual wouldn't be because they're sexual, so they're fucking themselves. There's a word for that.
They fuck themselves.
They fuck themselves.
That's
Ooh,
crazy.
I don't know. if they're
Yeah.
fucking themselves.
self-sexual,
What's that?
self-sexual.
Yeah, like
Self-
auto.
Sapiosexual.
Auto-
What's
so
a-
it'd be
what's a
autosexual.
sapiosexual?
Yeah, autosexual.
No,
Sapio-
sapiosexual is you're attracted to someone's brain.
Oh, shut up.
But that's real.
No, I know you're right. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
hate because I've been seeing that. Like, I'm sapiosexual.
I know, yeah,
it
it's
just
really
feels
annoying.
like one of those things. Like, it's
It
like
is confusing when there's so many like blah 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 sexual like.
Oh, have you
like
looked at the Tinder
pansexual-
options?
No, I haven't looked at the.
There
Tinder.
are like 30 or 40 gender options on
Oh.
Tinder now. It's crazy. It's not.
Damn.
I mean, you know, it's not
Yeah.
crazy. but-
whoa.
I mean, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
but, like,
I don't think it's
well,
crazy.
you had a bad attitude towards sapiosexual, which is also close-minded.
Okay, but the reason I have a
No,
problem
but
with
those
it is
people are
because it.
close-minded because they're like no stupid people.
Yeah.
Well, it's. I'm sorry. There's
Well,
But what if they
true.
like the
Well, no,
brain
I
of
think
a dumb
it's
person?
more about chemistry, though, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. Well, of course, yeah. It's like obviously it makes sense that you don't want to date people who are stupid, right? But
Right.
like to say
Some
that, like
people
that's
do.
what I'm attracted
Yes.
to. Like, shut
You're a
up, like,
liar.
I don't
That's
know if
because
they're
that's what it
saying
is.
it's like is it that it has to be a good brain? Like
Well,
like
I
maybe
don't know.
because I've dated some like dumb people.
Yeah, but you
Sure.
had chemistry with them.
Yeah, and it was like I like whatever is making all that happen.
Well, I'm dumb as hell. I told you guys this. Remember?
And
See,
you-
you're,
you
you're
had a
not dumb
girlfriend.
though. You just didn't read.
You're
but
yeah.
Well,
you're
Read enough books.
emotionally
we talked
intelligent.
about this about 35, 40 books, maybe.
But there's
That's
other
how-
there's other kinds of intelligence,
Yeah.
and you have to. I think you have to be smart in some way or other to do comedy.
Yes.
I would agree. If you
Absolutely.
do comedy well, I think. there
I
is
don't
an
know. Have you
intelligence.
guys seen Nick's comedy?
It's,
No.
funny.
it's
fine.
pretty
really
good.
funny.
Okay,
Nick's-
not
Nick's
you, Nick,
funny.
but one.
But
has
a
to,
Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Nick's out
The
there.
kind of guy that would say, "I don't know what this is."
And he's like, I've read 54 books, and he's just brilliant now. No, I was gonna say though, these sapios. To me, it feels like a male. It's like a male guy, like a guy who's like, I'm a feminist, and like keeps bringing that up. It's like you're trying to overstress things, because like obviously nobody can bang someone who's really stupid for that long, or who's way
Uh,
below.
Okay. Yeah.
How long? I lasted
Dude,
4 months. I was
it
with a
doesn't-
dumb girl for
How,
4
how long
months.
did you date these dummies?
I'm trying to think. The dumbest guy I dated him for like 7 months.
That's
well,
a long time.
what made him dumb?
He just like couldn't.
He only read
engage in
30 books?
conversation really well, or like
Okay.
he read, but he didn't like get it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
like when they
no,
read, but
that's
it, like,
even worse.
it doesn't really like you're like, oh, you didn't get that. That's nice.
Yeah,
I
he's
like that you're trying.
He had
"Have
low
you heard of Chuck
comprehension."
Palahniuk? He's like,
Yeah, actually,
always
we did.
Chuck. Yeah,
Of course,
dude.
we
You
were
read
talking
Choke?
Chuck.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about all these.
That's
Yeah,
the
dude.
dumb person. One
Totally.
book they read.
It's
That's
about all
it.
these
Yeah.
fighting guys.
Oh my God,
They
that was
just
so
fight.
spot
That's
on.
it. That's
I
it.
just talked to so many of those people. It's like, oh,
The
yeah.
perfect author, dude. Yeah.
It's a club of guys who fight, and that's all it's about.
I
really,
actually liked-
there's
I
no
think
other
the movie was
layers.
actually better. It's one of those cases where the
Yeah.
movie is better than the book. Dude.
I don't
Rather
like
do
the
who else?
It
voiceover.
is better than the book. By
I
far.
agree. I
Like,
agree. I
and
know.
then it gets all like preachy at the end of the book, and you're
Mhm.
just like,
Yeah.
just blow shit up.
Well, I'm not interested. Yeah, not interested in Palahniuk.
I mean, I think he is a pretty good writer, but it's just so many dumb
Some
people.
people
I don't know.
love it.
I read Fight Club, and then two of my friends were reading Choke, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's the best book." And then I listened to an interview with Chuck Palahniuk, and I was just kind of like, he seems like a cool dude, but like, I'm not. I didn't find him interesting. You know what I mean? What else do you
what was
want?
wrong
Tall,
about him?
tall criticism from the barely reader. Let's see. I've read Where the Red Fern Grows, How to Kill a Mockingbird, but I'm above Chuck.
It's not how to.
I think it's
kill 'em.
okay.
It's
to-
How to
Were
Kill a
you
Mockingbird.
pretending to be dumb?
No, I am that dumb. It's To Kill a
You
Mockingbird.
could have gotten out of that. You could-
Is it not
Yeah.
How to Kill a
It's To Kill a
Mockingbird by
Mockingbird.
Atticus Finch? Is that not the book? That's the book. Edited by Boo Radley, guy who doesn't understand the fiction from
Oh
the
my God.
credits.
Yeah.
So
That's a video. That's a famous Flash video. Did you guys ever see that?
Wait, what?
No one's gonna know what I'm talking about. There was
I used
yeah.
to watch a lot of Flash.
Remember
videos.
the Flash videos in video games? I'm so happy we don't have to deal with that
what's
anymore.
what was it called? Like
It was-
Newgrounds.
Yeah,
and,
it was on
Albino
Newgrounds.
Black
It was
Shape
called
and
How to
shit,
Kill a Mockingbird, and it was like a really bad book report of this guy who like. You know,
Yeah.
like it's like there's like a mockingbird armada and they had missiles. It was
That's funny.
hilarious
What
when I
was
was
this
14.
website you said?
Newgrounds and albino black
I don't
sheep
remember
and
any.
I think I remember Albino Black
yeah,
Sheep,
yeah,
but I don't know what Newgrounds is.
yeah. It was like
It was
these,
like
like
it was like a
cool-
fucked up Flash website with like violent games and like videos and stuff that like your mom would be mad at you if she like caught
Yeah.
you on it.
Oh, okay.
You're killing people.
Yeah.
That's not okay. And you're like, why is it so fun then? That it's all I want to
It
do.
really was fun.
So
to kill
fun.
people online.
Wow.
You didn't play Flash games, huh?
No.
What were you doing as a kid?
I didn't know that there were a lot of channels. Like we had cable, but my mom, I guess, had limited it to just like the educational ones. So
Oh.
watching like educational television and playing games with like. Now that I think about it, they're all like math games. So,
So you're
like,
just getting brilliant.
It sounds like you were duped into being really smart.
It-
Like,
well,
they
yeah,
were
because I didn't
math-
know there were other games. So it was like, oh yeah, you know the one where you gather crystals and like do math problems.
That's great though. Good
that-
for you.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. What is that game?
don't
I used to
know.
love that game.
Wait,
Yeah.
was it on the internet or was it like a
I think
board
it was a
game?
computer.
Yeah. Oh, the name
I don't
escapes me.
remember.
I could
I
see
don't
it in my
even- I
head.
Like I don't even know if it was on the internet. I think you had to
Yeah.
put.
No,
like,
it was a
CD
it was a
like,
floppy
into
drive.
Yeah.
It was a 3.14 inch disc. Remember those things? No, was it? What was it?
What,
Floppy
floppy
disk?
Yeah.
I
Floppy
remember
disk,
floppy
yeah.
disks.
3.14 is pi. There's no way that's
Mm.
it. A pi disk.
That's good though that you actually did something that was like somewhat educational,
Yeah. that
whereas
was
we
my
were just
childhood.
blowing people's brains out.
Yeah, I never had a video console or anything. Like
Yeah, I had those since like ever.
What?
Yeah, I was gonna
since
say some of my
05.
fondest memories are like playing Halo 1 and eating red vines with my friends. Like that. I think
Oh,
that might have
for
been my
sure, yeah.
peak.
That was some of the
Yeah.
best days ever. 'Cause you
Why
didn't have
were
any
those so-
worries. You had no
Yeah.
worries.
Yeah.
we
And
just
you-
went outside. Like I think I'm older
Damn.
than all of you also, but like
That's okay.
yeah, we just went outside. We,
Oh,
like,
you just went
I
outside.
yeah,
actually
there was a creek
self-described.
behind
We would
my
do that
house. I
sometimes.
was raised near a swamp.
Ooh,
like,
wow.
You were raised near a swamp?
Yeah,
You had
like,
like a Huck Finn kind of like
I
yeah.
lived in a
roving
swamp.
about.
There was
yeah.
a creek, like the creek behind my house connected with like other creeks to form like this much bigger creek, and like
Damn.
homeless people.
Whoa, you
sometimes
lived in
live
like
near
an
the creek,
awesome
and then-
ecosystem.
Yeah, like there's like a whole trail through the swamp. Yeah, that's
Right.
we found animals.
That's
like,
great.
eh,
I
Did you
lived
live
next
at- grow
That's
up
like
in
what kids do in
Narnia?
Stephen King books.
That sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
like it's so strange to me that you guys are like, yeah, my best memories. I was like, what about that time like we found the shopping cart and we tried to get it into the river, or like we
Yeah.
tried
Well,
to
no,
float
I-
things.
Damn.
I did stuff like that
Like-
too, but anytime I was always a bad kid. So like when I would go outside, I would do like
You would like fuck
He
shit
would
up.
burn
illegal
books.
things. Yeah, we would like throw rocks at houses that were being built. You know, yeah, it was really shitty. We would smoke
Property
actual
crime.
grass. Like we.
Why?
Yeah. Well, we didn't know what we were doing. We were
Wait,
so
how old
young.
were you when you were smoking actual
Yeah.
grass?
What?
How old?
How
were you?
old?
Yeah.
Very, very young. Like
11?
Like no, younger than that.
Oh
Whoa.
my
like
god.
yeah, it was like around like 8 or 9.
Why
Wow.
are you doing this?
I grew up in this neighborhood that was like shitty, and then it over time, like exponentially, it got very nice over time.
Was the
So,
logic like, oh, it's called smoking grass, so
I don't know. I think it was that like we just knew kind of what cigarettes were, and that it was like tobacco that was a plant. So we
Yeah.
just picked grass from the yard, which by the way has fucking all sorts of chemicals.
Oh
in it.
Yeah.
god.
Then we would
yeah.
put it in printer paper, which
Oh.
I think we did this like twice, and then we learned pretty quick that this was really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
can't
we did
imagine.
that, but then I mean, these are kids that like I had in my neighborhood that were like they grew up on the dirt road. There was always the dirt
The
road.
dirt
Yeah.
road.
There were 2 dirt roads, and those were where our best friends lived. Me and my brother would hang out with these dirt road people, and then we would go out and we would smoke cigarettes. Once we discovered cigarettes, we'd go into the woods. We would smoke cigarettes. We'd look at Playboy, and then
Whose Playboy was it? Was it one of the?
it was one of the dirt road.
Okay.
Wait, how old were you when you saw this Playboy?
Young as fuck, like 7, like seriously, like
What?
very
Yeah.
very young.
I didn't see porn until I was like 13, 14.
Yeah.
Analog porn or like internet porn?
Analog is
Like
or,
like
like a-
magazine?
no, not. I guess it's a VHS pornography video that like a friend found, and he invited everyone from school over, and we all sat there
Whoa.
together and just were like,
Damn.
"What the hell?"
Did
is
any of
this?
you? Did a lot of people like feel guilty and walk out, or like get scared about their
No.
parents?
I'm
and
It's
shit?
jealous of that. I feel
Wait,
like
did he invite a co-ed group of people to
Yeah.
watch? That's weird.
That's
isn't it?
cool.
Well, it's weird, but you don't know that it's weird
Yeah,
yet.
you don't know that it's weird. Yet.
Yeah,
So it's just
but it
like,
is definitely weird.
Yeah, but I,
I mean,
feel like
yeah,
that's
it's all, but it's like groups of dudes would watch porn together, right? And that
Right.
was weird, but in a way that makes sense. It's like, yeah, it's like none of you even talk to girls. Like, how are
Right.
you gonna invite them to watch?
Well, we had
Yeah.
a very co-ed friend group, and
Wow.
we just all.
that feels so healthy. I feel
Yeah.
like you're like a healthy, normal person. I'm like how less weird is that than how we probably all
Yeah,
discovered
yeah.
our sexuality as guys is like, angrily masturbating like, when am I going to get to do this to one of them? Like it's horrible.
That seems a bit
Yeah.
aggressive.
Yeah, it
well,
was
I
really
was
scary.
I
what
watched
you
a lot
just
of
did there,
porn
Danny.
as a
We all
kid.
feel pretty uncomfortable
I'm
now.
really sorry. if it's
when I
true.
started masturbating, I wouldn't. Is this too blue?
No, I went there.
All right.
Go, just go.
Well, you wouldn't. As a kid, I don't know if you guys started masturbating before you could come.
Yeah.
Did that?
no,
I,
you
I,
didn't?
I had a
no.
I had
Really?
a month-long period where I was like, I think I'm supposed to jack off, but I
Right.
don't know
You
what the
think
point
I
you're
is.
think
supposed to?
we
I
got
would,
a
I would
letter.
do it. I was like, I think this is how you do it, but I don't know why people do this.
Yeah.
And how old
And-
are you?
I was in 8th grade.
Wow.
I can't remember how I figured out that you could do that, but I was probably masturbating for a couple years before I could come.
Wow.
And you would
Yeah.
orgasm.
Well, did you start
I would
super young?
I would orgasm and nothing would happen. I'd just feel good, and then I would do that about 3 more times in the shower. And so I would take like these
Wow.
hour-long showers,
Jeez.
and my mom was like, "What are you doing?" But I felt like my dad always knew, and he would never say anything. And my mom would be like, "What are you doing in there? Like, why are you taking so long?" And I'm just like, it's
Playing.
takes me
Just
long."
think, yeah,
wow.
thinking.
And she's like, and she started teaching
Meditating.
me how to shower. She was like, go in there and just start rubbing
No.
soap all over your body. You like
It's
do
like,
that
oh,
real
he
quick.
doesn't know
Start
half
with the
this.
soap, yeah. And I'm like
That's
on,
what's
I'm like
going on
sitting in the shower, just like, ugh, 3
Oh.
times. It
3
was so
times
pathetic.
straight? Can you? Are you like one of those guys who can like?
No, well,
Not
I mean,
anymore.
Before you,
Oh,
before you like would
God.
come.
No,
right,
not
yeah.
anymore. No, I mean,
Oh, wow.
and if I'm like home alone, very rarely do I do it now more than like twice a day. Very rarely even go past that. But I'm usually like once a day or no times a day.
Yeah, I've had a girlfriend for 2 years, so I just can't come now.
At all.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
Sorry, I
sucks.
said it.
I understand though.
Yeah,
Jesus.
but it's good. I love
You
her.
should
We love
try
each
it
other.
again.
We
You
try.
could
We
probably
try. Now. We try.
Have some nostalgia for it. You probably miss it.
I do miss. Yeah, there
Do
is.
you not
a-
jack off anymore at all?
Yeah, I try. I stopped watching porn. I've like quit porn many times. The one thing I can't really get rid of because man, you get on it. It really is a drug. You know what I mean? Once you start, when you quit and then you come back, whoo!
Ooh,
Wow.
Why was I gone for so long?
Yeah.
Welcome back, baby.
Yeah, it's a good thing to revisit.
I think it's just tough. Like my girlfriend and I always talk about like, because we're not as excited anymore to do it, and it's like, you know, I think it's like a pheromones thing too. It's like your body's just like, yeah, well, we did this, so it's like, why?
You're not like spicing it up at all?
Oh, we've spiced. We've got all the toys and all the
No, I just mean
you know.
like, fuck, where you're gonna get caught or something.
You never sound excited when you talk about anything pertaining to your relationship. You can edit this out, right?
Oh, no, I wouldn't care. I've said all this to her.
Oh,
like, it's totally honest. Yeah, no, we don't. No, she's the same way. I'm like, well, should we swing or what? And then we're just like, yeah, I don't really feel like that. Like, let's just go see a movie or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys get along really well.
Yeah.
Obviously, so, like, you're just like, yeah, you don't have to fuck all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
like,
okay,
we're just
all
homies.
The time, like,
What?
All the time, like.
All the time what? I missed
He said we don't have to fuck all the time, but I was like.
No, well, I'm saying like so.
Like
I amended it because I said we don't have to fuck. I was like, you guys probably fuck, you and your girlfriend, but it's like you probably don't
like
do it as
weekly,
much.
Yeah,
You don't do it as much as you did in the beginning. That's what I meant.
All right, got it.
Right.
I have a friend right now, one of my best friends, who's been dating someone for 4 years, and he says that they do not fuck
at all.
Yeah.
You can't, from what I understand, is you can't not fuck for too long because then it can get bad. Like, you got to keep it going.
I'm sure that they do. I think he's probably exaggerating a little bit, but he's like, so I think one time he told me it was like a couple months or a few months that they just like weren't, they just didn't.
Did they live together? I don't understand.
They live together, yeah. They live together right now.
They're in the same bed.
In the same what?
They're in the same bed.
In the same bed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're just not fucking.
Yeah, they love each other very much, but they're just not fucking. And he also opened up the idea of like, hey, can I see other people? Should we open relationship? And she got really upset.
Ooh.
So.
See, yeah, with my girlfriend, it's just like, oh, yeah, we could do that, but we don't need to yet, so why introduce that, you know? Why mess with that? I think that's the maturity of it, is be like, oh, I love you. There's no problems here.
Yeah.
This is just what it's like. This is what monogamy kind of feels like, you know? There are intermittent bursts of like, oh, this is exciting again for a day, but then it's mostly not exciting. That's what it's not. It's not exciting. You trade excitement for consistency.
I have questions because I've never been able to, like, stay in a relationship very long, so like
same.
the part where you're like it gets boring again, right? Like, can you describe exactly what that feels like? Because I feel like every time I started feeling, I'm like, oh, I gotta break up with them.
Yeah. What's your longest relationship?
Like a year.
Yeah, man.
So you guys have never gotten past
7 months.
7 months.
Oh
man,
my
that's
God,
great.
Kenise!
I love people like you.
Why?
I really, because it's how I am. I haven't been in a relationship longer than a year, maybe like a year and a month.
Wow, that's really. Do you guys know about the honeymoon period? Because that's what.
I've heard of it.
Sure,
yeah, you know, you've all been in it. You've all been in it.
That's mostly what our relationships are. Is fucking all the time.
Yeah, that part, and that part is so sweet. So when that part, you see, this is the craziest thing. You have people who are like, oh, we got married after a year and a half. It's like, oh, you're in for a nasty wake up call because your honeymoon period that's like about when it ends, 18 to 24 months. I mean, a lot of people have one fight and then they end it like you, like 7 months. Like you still had more like dopamine, I don't know what it is, whatever, those neurochemicals that are like, it's like a drug. You see them and you're so excited.
Yeah.
But we've gotten past that to where it's like it's not exciting anymore, but you're like, I love this person.
It's just like a friend, in a way, right?
It's like a long-term friendship. Yeah.
Mine turn into enemies.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine, I move
but
so
not forever.
I love
they're just gone.
Yeah. Like, I'm never gonna run into
very
these people.
liberating.
Like,
No, I'm mostly kidding. There's really only 2 girls that have turned into like people that I just don't like.
Well, you play a risky game, which is you hook up with your exes. Is that true? Am I allowed to say
it's
that?
like my
that's
main thing.
very dangerous.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Exciting though.
It's
so
exciting.
good.
What a thrill.
It's so good.
Yeah,
because you get it
It's
back.
exciting, like heroin is exciting. Like,
Well,
it's
yeah,
fun while you're on
absolutely.
it, but like,
And that's,
it's just
you know,
constantly
that's why.
up and down.
And
up
you're
and down.
like, I shouldn't do this, and it feels wrong, but it feels right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I used to do those drugs. That's the thing is that's what I was making the connection with my therapist, because she was like, yeah, that's who you are. Like, you have this
You
addiction.
traded
You're looking for that
heroin
thrill.
for exes?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
It was a pretty healthy choice, I think. But, you know, I mean, switching, not doing these bad things. But, I don't know. It's such a fun time. I'll do it all the time, but I'm trying not to anymore.
But yeah, so I just like
fucking
don't
hard.
understand how you can like tolerate when it's not exciting anymore. I mean, I guess you just love them, so like you.
It's a
work through it.
trade-off, like I
Yeah.
said.
I mean, I guess it's
That
obvious.
just
It's just like
funny.
No, you're right. I mean, when you've only been in short-term relationships, it's hard to imagine how that would be where it's not that way. But, it's kind of like a good stand-up set. If you do like 40 minutes, and you can have these rich callbacks, or like you develop a character. So it's like when you've been with someone for 2 years, you have jokes that have evolved for 2 years. So it's like there's these added dimensions, there's the added challenge, and there's the consistency. That's a good feeling to be like, oh, every night there's someone who loves me. Like that's a great. Also,
and
my
it
girlfriend.
feels like you feel the love.
Oh yeah, we're very affectionate.
Okay.
That's another thing, maybe, that affection and sex get separated.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What can you do to have sex more? Because I feel like some people, there is the honeymoon period, right?
Yeah.
But then they go through a period where they don't really do it, and then they get it back, right?
Yeah.
There's some people who are like dating for like 5 years and they still fuck all the time. Like, what is
Is that true?
I also
think
feel
so.
like there's things where like couples go through something really hard together, like some horrible thing.
The death of a
happens to one
child,
right,
just a
sure,
horrible.
yeah,
that's
you just
a-
fucking
yeah.
all
Probably the
time.
worst
Yeah.
example. I'd say that's the worst thing that could happen to someone. Yeah.
Or a death of a parent, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that person's, so you went through something that's like uncommonly difficult
Yeah.
together, and once you're out of that, and it's like things are, it's kind of like smoother sailing in your life. Maybe that is like an event that, like, I mean, this is weird language, but
Brings
like
out
spicing things up again,
Oh, I'm so happy your dad died. Now we can bone again,
Well, I
baby.
think-
Yeah, no, I mean that rings true.
No,
Because
but you're like being super intimate.
Yeah.
in that
Yeah,
moment.
exactly.
you weathered
Yeah.
the storm. You
Right.
weathered the
Yeah.
storm. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And you gotta physically reset.
So I just got to wait for a horrible thing to happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's so important to be in long-term relationships, though. And we haven't done it.
Yeah.
The three of us haven't done it. You have, but like I realize no idea like what that is, what that how, weathering the storm, and there's such a huge part of relationships that I can't even fathom, really. You know what I mean? And that's fucking weird to me that I'm almost 28 and haven't experienced that.
Yeah, you're
I mean,
probably going to die without ever
I mean,
experiencing it.
I guess
That's fine.
but
That's
Thank you for
ideal.
there's plenty of people who live their whole lives and don't experience it and contribute to life in other ways. And I mean, unless it's like something you really want to feel.
Yeah.
then-
Well, when you were, like you said, you start to lose that honeymoon period, right? And then you.
I mean, I also have like additional tremendous anxiety about entering into any commitment,
Yes.
which is not
And I think
uncommon,
that's
so
very common for me, though.
Yeah, yeah, right.
With
So
women, though, that unless I fall in love super hard, it's like I'll date for like someone I'm like, I really like this person, and I love them, I appreciate
Yeah.
them, and care about them. But then at some point, I'm like, oh, but I'm not super in love with them, and I don't see it like lasting.
yeah,
So maybe 8
fucking
months in, I'm
let's
like,
pull
I
the-
gotta get out, and I'll run away. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is, man. You know, I like that rush. I love that like first
It's great.
when it's great, and then when it's not great anymore, it's just like shit starts to fall apart and you get out.
Yeah, so we had David Piccolomini and Jake Flores on. They were talking about polyamory and how that's a thing. It's they almost put it like it is a woke thing, like
That
getting
irks me
past
so
that
much.
is a little irksome, like getting
It's like,
past the marriage.
Some of us just like one person. Like we can just like
Mm-hmm.
don't act like we're the bad guys because we happen to fall in line with societal
Sure.
expectations.
Well, they were kind of saying like, and I'm super ignorant, I don't really know, but it was like marriage was invented for men to have control because of agriculture. That's when the concept of property kind of came
Yeah.
about. Like, oh well, we're not just going to run around finding fruit. Now you're going to own this land and cultivate it,
Sure.
and that'll be what you do. And then so that's how that came out of it. So it's almost like in the future there is a theoretical, I guess, possibility that, especially with like feminism where it's at and how it's progressed, not that it's there yet, but that we might go into this different model of like how relationships work. I mean, marriages are pretty practical. That's I think the one thing
Yeah,
about
but
that.
but sure, but it is weird. Like, damn, 50% divorce rate. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
so much.
I
But
went.
it's starting to go down, like because fewer people are getting married.
Yeah, sure.
And they're not getting married because of like, oh, I'm completely financially dependent on you
Right,
to
right.
live,
Right.
or like I need your dad's money, so like let's get married.
Have any of you ever been with anybody who was in an open relationship? Have you ever like had sex with anybody who's like
I turned it down. I'm
Did
actually
you? Why?
really proud of this.
Why?
Yeah,
Why are you
I
proud of
went
it?
on this date. I was on like a tear. This would have been like a record week for me. This sounds so douchey.
That's
but
fine.
This is who I was. This
Well,
is who I
only
was.
because you used the word tear, I think.
I was on a tear, man. I was gonna have 3 girls in 1 week.
Damn. Wait,
and
can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah,
There's a New York
please
Post
do.
article recently about how like comedians have sex because they do comedy. It was like a really stupid like lifestyle.
Oh, I
piece.
saw that. Yeah,
And
I hated
someone
that.
is quoted as saying, "I now have 5 hookup appointments per
Ugh.
week."
5
because I do
hookup
comedy.
That's
appointments.
disgusting.
Gross.
That's
who,
the funny-
Who said that?
Yeah, I won't.
Fuck it, no, who
you
said it?
find the article and it'll
Is
say
it the one with the
it's
picture?
named. The comic is named.
Is
New
it
York?
The one,
Yeah.
the
Oh, just tell us
picture
when the
where
mic's
he's
on.
like, and there are 2 women on either side.
No,
of
that's
him?
Harrison Greenbaum.
Okay, so
He's
that
not the
one-
one who says that,
But
but that's
somebody else. Okay,
yeah, somebody
I'm
else.
Who is
looking this up
beautiful,
and
by
also
the way.
avoiding that person.
yeah.
Oh, you
Harrison
know who it is?
Greenbaum is sexy.
Oh, okay.
No, I
I'm
think
sure
so.
he is.
So
Yeah.
why?
What's
Okay,
up?
go to it.
So
Go to
I
it.
was,
What
so
happened?
yeah, I was on a tear, and I have this thing where like on a date, like I ask the wrong kind of, like I don't think I'm good at, like I like to probe. I'm a prober, you know what I mean? It's like if someone alludes to something that they clearly don't want to talk about, I'm like, why don't we go there?
Yeah.
So she ended up telling me, she's like, yeah, so my husband and I, we had an abortion, and I was like, oh my God, let's talk about your abortion. Like, what was that like? I've never learned about that. And then it would just completely desexualize it. And she's like, yeah, I could have, we could do it. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to now that we're here and talked about this. So it was like I kind of steered the conversation in this way.
Why are you proud of it though?
Because once we got there, we got to this intimacy with her and her husband, I could tell that they were just having like a panicky, like, let's open up the relationship.
So you were in the midst of that.
I was in the midst of that, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
that's
want to
weird.
exploit
Did you know her
this.
husband?
No, but I ended up meeting him, and he's actually a really good
cool.
guy. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, it was kind of weird, but yeah.
I hooked
anyway,
up with a girl in Florida back when I was just
Straight?
visiting recently. Yeah, before I was fucking men only.
Yeah.
But she was in an open relationship, and we met at like a bar, and she was. I saw on because I had wanted to like sleep with her or just be with her for so long. She's just this gorgeous woman I had a crush on. And but I was visiting home, and she hit me up out of the blue, and she's like, "You want to get a drink?" And I was like, "This is amazing." So we went out, and I checked her Facebook. She was in a relationship. I was like, "Oh fuck, okay, so maybe this is like friend thing." And we were at this bar, and she at some point, because I was talking about it, I was like, "You're still with your boyfriend?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm confused as fuck." But then she's like looking around. She's like, "This looks like a swingers bar." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And we started talking about swingers.
What's a swingers bar?
It's a place where like couples will go to like hook up with other couples.
I didn't know there were specific bars.
Yeah,
That's
for
the
that.
thing. Well, that's the
Wow.
thing. That's the thing. It's not a swingers bar. It just happens to be a place that
Oh.
Where
naturally,
swingers-
yeah, it just kind of caught on and
It's
became
like not a
that.
comedy bar. We just take it over because they're not making any money.
Well, sort of. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an okay analogy.
Huh.
That's fine. But
Sorry.
So there's like on Monday there's like swinger open mic.
yeah, they get there like,
You
hey,
put
this
your
is
key in a
us.
bucket, and then
Yeah.
the host.
Try
The
it
couple
out.
goes
Yeah.
up and they do the spin.
These
or
are our
whatever.
keys if you'd like to hear
Yeah.
these jingle in your
Yeah.
bucket or whatever.
Anyways, so yeah, we started chatting about swinging and stuff and polyamory, and then she was like, "I'm in an open relationship with my boyfriend," and I was like, "Oh," and it just all kind of like flashed. I was like, I get it. Okay, cool. So we just kind of talked, and then by the end of the night, she was like, "Hey, I told you I was in an open relationship. I'm really interested. If you want to go back to your place, it'd be great." I was like,
Ooh.
"Sweet," and then we just did it, and then
Whoa.
yeah.
And
That's the
that was
whole
it.
thing, really. Well, it goes on a little bit because she started sending me texts the next day that were
Ooh,
sexual and all
weird.
about like stuff like that. And I was like, "Is this against the rules that y'all have, or what?" But I've heard that
And
an
was it?
open-
Or you didn't
I
ask
don't
her. You were
think
just saying
so.
that
She
was
said the
year one.
rules were no, what
No
was
butt
it?
stuff.
No, it was no sleepovers, no friends and coworkers, and when you get home because they live together,
Yeah.
you have to shower.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh.
completely
Yeah,
legit.
but then that was pretty much all I remember her mentioning. But like, then there were some things I don't know.
Do you think you could do an open relationship like
I
that?
thought about it. Yeah, when I was with.
So when you thought about it, did you decide that you could or couldn't?
Well, I was with. I don't know if she wanted. Who cares? Hannah and I were together. We were talking about it, but we were. But then It was such a dumb thing because I think in order to be in an open relationship, you have to have been in a relationship.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like Hannah and I have never been in a thing like us that has lasted more than a year.
Yeah.
And we'd only really been dating for 6 months before we broke up, and then for 3 months started hooking up like regularly.
Yeah.
And then we started talking because we were like, hey, maybe let's just like do an open thing, and it would have been such a horrendous idea for us.
Yeah.
But I'm not against the idea in later relationships. But it has to be one of those things, like we said, where you're done kind of with that honeymoon period, where you've been like 3 years in, right?
Right.
And then you're like, hey, let's see other people. Would you be into that? I think that I would be open to that. It depends.
Would the jealousy get in the way?
I
Do you
think
guys,
that's
would you guys have jealousy issues?
I worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's gotta.
I love the no friends. Was it no friends or family rule?
No friends or
Oh,
And
definitely. Yeah.
family.
Right.
Yeah,
Also.
but
family.
only family. Family's an exception.
Family's fine. My
Yeah.
girlfriend's my cousin. All right. That's actually true. All right. Yeah, no. I got a lot of flack for that yesterday. Oh, you weren't there. I was at a show. I was at a mic, and my girlfriend was my cousin. It's actually true.
Oh yeah, what the fuck is that about?
So I never heard of her before, and I went to my cousin's wedding. We were on the same side of the wedding, and she was my cousin's cousin. So we were